It is a beautiful day here, and I have made a commitment to myself that every Wednesday at this time, hopefully a little earlier, but I was fidgeting with some things, I am going to come on YouTube to teach and empower you all to become more confident in your lives. If you're looking to be more confident, then I think this channel would be really, really helpful for you, especially since so many people right now in, well, the USA, I don't know about the rest of the world, but in the USA are in a lot of fear. And so I have been really contemplating what it is I want to bring out into the world. What's going to make an impact? What's going to help people? And there's so many things we can watch. There's so much time we can spend on social media. And I know personally for me, some social media channels, they don't bring me a lot of joy. They actually can bring my vibration down. It actually brings my vibration to a place where I feel like I'm in more fear or I'm in more comparison mode. And so my intention is to build my channel to help people find the way through the fear, from fear to fierce, building unshakable confidence. And that's really, this is just my video for today, but I really want to bring more and more and more of that because I am one of these people, as I've said on many of my videos, that I am somebody who walks the talk. I am someone who actually does the work, shows up. And today is a very pivotal day for me. It's a very important day for me in my life. And some of you know that I have been a part of a 12-step recovery program called Al-Anon for many years. And Al-Anon, if you don't know what it is, and if you need some spiritual guidance in your life and a place to begin really delving into your spirituality, then I would highly recommend you check out Al-Anon. And it's alanon.org. And what it is it's for friends and families of alcoholics. And I have a lineage of alcoholism in my family. And we all have some sort of lineage of addictive behaviors, with not even within ourselves, but also usually our family lineage has some addiction or has some sort of problem in it. And if you want to build unshakable confidence, you're going to have to work on yourself. And so I encourage people all the time, if you're stuck, if you feel like you don't have a community, you don't know anybody that can help you walk through a divorce, through somebody, maybe your spouse has an addiction, maybe one of your relatives, your children, then I would highly, highly encourage you and invite you to look into Al-Anon. It is an amazing, amazing program. And it's been around, AA's been around for almost 100 years, if not 100 years, but Al-Anon's been around since the 1950s. And so it's a pretty well-established program, you all. And that's where I began my journey 16 years ago. And 16 years ago today, I entered into those rooms to try to discover what had happened to me, what had happened to Melissa. Why was she not that confident, really outgoing person anymore? What had brought me to a place of complete isolation, desperation, fear, feeling numb? Actually, you don't even feel numb. When you're numb, you feel nothing. What had brought me to that place of being so unhappy and so miserable that I really, really, really was unsatisfied and hating my life where I was? This was 16 years ago today, you all. And so if you're in a space like that, if you're feeling any of those emotions, or you're not feeling anything at all, and maybe you just don't like yourself, you don't like where you are in your life, you're not happy with what you've accomplished, and that's where I was 16 years ago. And fortunately for me, my sister, she was the one that said, hey, I think Al-Anon could work for you. Now, mind you, she had said this many times. Now, how many times do we poo-poo or do we say, that's not for me? That's not something that I want to do in my life because I'm doing this or I'm taking these steps over here. Well, sometimes, you all, what ends up happening is we exhaust those resources. We exhaust those tools that we think are working in our life. And we have to start what I call tapping into our intuitions, tapping into maybe meditation, listening to that inner guidance, listening to what it is that's calling us to try next or do next. And this is finally where I was 16 years ago. I was at my literal breaking point. And I knew that if I didn't do something, my life was going to go down the tubes. My life was going to continue to do this, a deep dive into the abyss of unhappiness, of misery, of contempt, of anger, of self-pity, of victimhood. That's where I was on the road to go. And I had never been like that in my life. But after being with somebody who really was a teacher for me, who really showed me what I needed to change, I decided to attend this Al-Anon meeting 16 years ago today. Well, you all, this is where my journey changed. This was the door to open an entire life of going from fear to fierce. And I had to learn this one day at a time. I had to learn about how to change myself and to understand what were the parts of me that I needed to heal or I needed to change in order to become this unshakable, confident woman, which is what I am now. And it was a process. It was a day by day, one day at a time process. So I'm going to first of all say that if you are somewhere where you don't want to be, you don't like it, you're not happy, you don't like who you are, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, then I would recommend that you start at identifying, okay, I am at point A, I'm here, I'm at this place that I don't want to be in anymore. And then decide what it is that you really want to be. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be financially free? Do you want to be feeling stable? Do you want to, what location do you want to live in? What is it? You got to define what it is you want. And if we're talking about unshakable confidence, if you can't identify what it is you want to go from A to B or where you want to go in your life, then you're really going to be fumbling a lot with how to get there. And the how we don't even have to worry about right now. You don't even have to worry about how to get that unshakable confidence. What you need to do is you need to determine what it is. Oh, I'm getting text messages about a car. Remember you all, I think I shared this with you last week. I went and I bought a car, but that was a big process for me. And that really built more confidence in myself. So that's an example right there. But I'm going to tell you a different example today about how to create unshakable confidence. So you have to decide and figure out what it is you want for your life. What do you want to change? What do you want to go after? What are your desires? And in that moment, that day that I began that journey 16 years ago today in Al-Anon, I really didn't know what I wanted. I just knew I wanted something to change. But I really couldn't identify what that looked like because I had numbed myself out. I had taken myself and isolated myself. I had reached a space where I just really didn't know anything anymore. And I was in a space almost of course, surrender, which is very important and very critical in our journey of life is surrender. Being in a place of surrender is very important. It really is helpful, even though it sounds really scary. And so when I showed up to that meeting 16 years ago, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what the meeting was like. I didn't know how the meeting ran. I didn't know anything. I just knew that I was out of solutions and I was out of ways to fix my spouse. I was out of ways to fix him. And I thought to myself, I have tried everything to fix this man and he's not changing. What is his problem? What is going on with him? Why won't he do what I say? But in reality, the issue wasn't that. It was me. It was how I was trying to live my life. And it wasn't working to try to fix or change. And this is a key principle, you all, about how we have to live fully in our lives is know thyself. Know thyself. That is extremely important. And if you start to pay attention and you start to watch your behavior and you start to watch how you interact with people, places, and things, you will begin to realize, wow, I have a behavior. I have a mannerism. This is how I am with people, places, and things. You will begin to see it. And it is a process. And I always tell the clients I mentor, give yourself some grace, because this is not a change overnight. This is not a quick fix. And we live in a society of instant gratification. And so that is sometimes an issue for us because we want it now. And we think, I'm going to get this right now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to change. I'm going to get my goal right now. But in reality, that's not really how it happens. Sometimes it can be like that. I've had that happen with very small things. But a lot of times it's taken me many, many years to be willing to surrender it, to be willing to let it go. And one of the areas, and I will share this with you today, is because this is my 16th birthday in Al-Anon, is one of the areas that really, really has kind of kept me stuck over the years is with my former husband, with my ex-husband. He had a lot to teach me. He had a lot to teach me. And one of the things that he did for me, of course, because he taught me so many things, was he put me in a space of a lot of fear. He was somebody who really was what I call a warning about life. And I have learned to change my language. And if you want to get out of fear, you all, you have to learn to start speaking to yourself differently. You have to learn to change the way you speak and talk and the words you use towards yourself and towards other people in the world, in your life, in your workplace. Because if you don't change those words, and we know this, we know we have 50,000 thoughts a day. And those 50,000 thoughts a day can be positive or negative. They can be beating yourself up, which is gonna keep you in fear. It's gonna keep you in a vibration of being shakable. It's going to keep you in that space, or you can choose to use verbiage, and it takes time that is positive, that is loving, that is compassionate, that is understanding. You can choose that. And you can choose again and again and again. Choice is one of your greatest powers, by the way. And so back in the day with my former husband, he was a warning. He was always like, don't do this, don't say this, don't be that way, don't act that way. And there was so much fear in him all the time. So much fear, so much darkness, so much worry, so much depression. And all of that was due to the fact that he had these demons and these things within him that he decided he never wanted to look at, and he never wanted to uncover what was causing the issues. And when we don't uncover and look at what's causing the issues, we are never going to break free or be free of those things that hold us in bondage. And if you want that unshakable confidence, you're going to have to face those fears. You're going to have to face those demons. You're going to have to face those parts of yourself that you are maybe in shadow with. We have a shadow, you all. If you want to call it a shadow, you can call it feeding your demons. I mean, I've done all of this work in my life. And so I understand those parts of myself when they go into fear, how to change them, how to shift them, how to love them, how to give them grace. And so when you are going from fear to fierce, the more you can uncover those, the more you can own them, the more you can be present to them, you will become a force to be reckoned with. You will become fierce. You will have that unshakable confidence. So one of the fears that I had after being in this Al-Anon program for about 14 months, I realized this is not the place for me anymore. I have done all the work that I need to do in partnership with this person. I'm out. It's done. I need to leave. And I made that decision after having surrendered because I didn't know what the right decision was. And so I surrendered it up to the greater source energy, the universe, my higher power, God, whatever you want to call it. I call it spirit. You can call it Shakti, the universe, source energy, whatever. And so I I surrendered in that moment. And in that moment, what ended up happening for me was really nothing. Nothing happened in that moment except I felt complete calm and I just let go. And if you're struggling in a place of fear and you don't know what to do, the more you can relax, and this is really good information right here, you all, is that the more you can relax when you're in a place of fear, the more the answers will rain down, download, shower into you, and you will get the clear guidance. But when we're so stressed and we're so wrapped up and we're so tight in anxiety, we can't feel or receive the answers, the intuition, the knowingness that we need to get out of that fear. This is a really key, important piece about when you want to go from point A to point B. So you want to go from fear to fierce. You want to go from fear to confidence. You have to be willing to receive the information about how to go from point A to point B. And if you don't welcome the anxiety, if you don't celebrate the anxiety, and if you don't let the oxygen flow come through your body, through your brain, through your blood vessels, if you don't stay calm, you're not going to receive the highest and best information that you need to continue moving forward through that fear. And so many times what we do is we go into lockup. We lock up every part of ourselves and we're freaking out and we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And that actually stops us from receiving the answers. And so that is a critical and key component to going from fear to confidence. Let yourself relax and be calm. And if you can't do it in that moment, go do something that will take your mind off of the fear for a moment, or take your mind off of the goal or where you want to go to be that confident person. Go do something like meditate. This is what I do. This is one of my key pieces of life that I have learned is something that always gets me answers is I go in nature. I go in nature and I walk without my cell phone and I don't listen to music, you all, and I just receive from the trees, the flowers, the bugs, the animals, the path, the rocks, the lake. I receive the information. People call it forest bathing. I don't really call it forest bathing. I call it going into nature and receiving the information from Mama Gaia, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. But it works for me, you all, and I highly recommend it. We don't spend enough time relaxing and being calm in nature. So that is one of my very, very important tools. If I'm stressed out to the max and I don't know what to do and I'm trying to make a big decision in my life, I go to the park and I walk in solitude and I'm at peace when I come out. And most of the time I know what to do next. And if I don't, the information will download within me within a couple of days and I'll know how to move forward. I'll know what action to take next. And so if you have a special way that you receive information when you're in a calm space, you all, a calm space, never make a decision that is rash or from a place of anger or from a place of high emotion, because what ends up happening probably is it backfires on you, or it ends up that it turns out that it's not the best decision that you could have made. And so the more you can be calm and let the oxygen flow through your body, the better decisions you're going to make. And what ends up happening is you get better and better and better at it every day when you practice this. And it can be with small things and it can be with really big decisions. Like me, like when I had to decide 15 years ago that I wanted to get a divorce. And I didn't want to break up my family. I have 3 children. I didn't want to break up my family. I didn't want to have to walk through all of the crud with a divorce and getting all that paperwork and visiting with a lawyer. And I was scared, you all. I was really, really, really scared because my former husband's family is all attorneys. I didn't want anybody to see me walking through the town that I needed to go to. I was trying to cover myself up and I was hiding because I didn't want people to see me in this area because I knew they would say, "Oh, what are you doing in this area?" Because it's full of attorneys. And so these were my fears, you all. This is what I wrestled with. How will the stuff get split up? What will happen to the assets, the financial assets? Where will I live? Where will I live? I was in so much fear so much of the time, you all. And what would happen to my children and how would he take care of them? These were things that I thought about all of the time. And I had to learn and practice, and I did this by going to my program, Al-Anon. This is where I began. This is where I began my journey to wholeness, to becoming this unshakably confident woman. So I started in a 12-step recovery in Al-Anon. And I went every single week, you all. When you make a commitment, you need to make a commitment. And if you make a commitment to yourself, you need to show up and you need to do the work because that's how you're going to get the results. That's where when you invest in yourself, and I've learned this over and over and over, and every time I invest in myself, and I did a video about this, it pays dividends, you all, and you can stay in your fear. That's very expensive for you, mentally, emotionally, financially, all of those facets, everything. Spiritually, it is very, very expensive to stay in your fear. But when you go through the fear, when you walk through the fear and you emerge on the other side and you do the do and you walk the hot coals, like I like to say, you emerge with unshakable confidence. And as you continue to do that with every event, situation happening in your life, you get better and better. It's like a muscle. We do not go to the gym and we don't do a bunch of, arm rolls. We don't do a bunch of leg presses. And then we go home and we think, oh, I'm done. I'm healed. I'm that toned, perfect weight I want to be now because I went to the gym for whatever, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. No, that's not how we get to the goal that we really want. That's deeply embedded in our subconscious mind, like what we want for ourselves. And so going back, what ended up happening was once I made my decision to leave my marriage, within 4 months, I was gone. I think it was 4, maybe August, September, October, November, 5. It was less than 5 months. But I had to walk through one of the scariest, most frightening parts of my life because I had to stay in the home with someone who was extremely angry at me for wanting to leave, was extremely rageful, he was also very much wanting me to stay. So he was trying to pull me back in. He was using excuses and he was trying to pull me back to stay with nuances and romantic stuff and all this stuff. And I was having to keep my eye and be unshakably confident to walk through all of that, you all. And it was hard. It was probably I got very ill when I was in that situation. I got extremely sick. I cried a lot. I called my sponsor. We have sponsors in Al-Anon. I called my sponsor sometimes daily, sometimes twice a day, crying in hysterics. I mean, I was extremely, extremely afraid. And yet I knew that I needed to get out of that situation because I knew I was going to emerge on the other side with peace and joy and love and hope. And I wasn't there right away. I wasn't. Even when I moved out of that home, it took me a very long time to continue to build unshakable confidence. It took reading books. It took going in nature. It took getting a new sponsor after my other one, and I finished our relationship. It took so many different things for me to build. But where are you now? Where are you in your life now? Would you rather be in that same spot? Would I rather be in that same spot married to that person who was demeaning, demoralizing, critical, negative. He just was a very, very unhappy person. Would I rather be still in that space with him, or would I rather be where I am now? A joyful, happy, loving, kind mentor to so many people, an inspiration, because I've mentored many people through their divorces. I've mentored men and women finding balance in their lives, balancing the masculine and feminine. I've mentored many people in my Al-Anon program over the years. So would I rather be stuck in that marriage with somebody who doesn't love themselves, who doesn't love me, who doesn't know how to be a present person, who is a warning to others, like, don't do this, don't be this, don't try that? Would I rather be with that? Heck to the no. Hell to the no. No way would I rather be there, because I know most likely I would be a very still unhappy, unhealthy person. And I want to be this person who radiates joy and light and helps other people and serves through my own personal experience. And that's what I'm doing. And so if you want to go from fear to fierce, and you want to have unshakable confidence, you need to start now. You need to start doing it today. You need to start one thing, in even one small thing, that what I call pushes your edge. And what is that thing? Everybody has different stuff. Everybody has something that pushes their edge. For some people, it was, I can't show up at an event by myself. I can't go to this alone. Or I'm afraid to go on a vacation, or I'm afraid to go eat dinner by myself, or I'm afraid to leave a relationship. What is it that you could do today that pushes your edge and makes you feel like, oh my gosh, wow, I feel so confident because I did that thing I have been so afraid to do? And you know what I would love for you to do? I would love for you, I think, if I've turned off the comments right now, because I can't do the comments and do the speaking at the same time. Maybe down the road I'll get better at that. But I would love for you to send or put a comment. If I open the comments now, I would love for you to put a comment on the video about what it is that you did that was really scary for you, that pushed you into being a little bit more confident. That's my call to action for you. What is something that you've been really wanting to do in your life? And maybe it's like, go on a trip to this place that you've always wanted to go. And you're going to put in the comments, I bought my plane ticket, or I made a reservation at an Airbnb for this place that I want to go to. You got to do something, you all. You got to do something. And this is the kind of stuff that I want to help others to do in their daily lives, is to go after, because life is short. And even though I believe in reincarnation, life is still short. And I keep saying in all my videos, and I've said this all the time I've been speaking, is that I really do not want to come back to the earth plane. And so I'm really, really working hard to make sure that all my karma is clear and that all my lessons are learned and that I have this sense of completion, because then I can just mentor and coach people from my transitional space, whatever that will be. But I don't want to come back as a physical person again. So, and we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll have a conversation with God and God will say, Melissa, we really need you back on earth once I transition and I hear I need to come back. Who knows? But I think I might tell Shakti, Mama Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever you want to call it, that I'm done with this lesson, my priestess, teacher, whatever. And so that's my message today, you all. I've got to go. I have voice lessons in a few minutes. I go to voice lessons every week. I had my recital a couple weeks ago. It went fabulous. And so please, please, please put in the comments, once I turn them back on, go back and put in the comments somewhere in your life where you're going to take action. You're going to do something, no matter how small it is, that pushes your edge to go after something that you want or want to change, or something you want to see different in your life. I would love to see it. It would really make my day for you to comment and say that. And hopefully after I post this video, more people will do that. But that's my call to action. And I hope you all have a great, super duper wonderful day. It is a gorgeous day where I am. It's my 16th birthday today at Al-Anon. And I got myself a car last week and everything to celebrate my 16th birthday so that my family and I could have some safe and enjoyable wheels to run around town with. So you all have a super duper great day, and I will look forward to connecting with you again very soon.